Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jade Justine and we are here to review Drag Race UK Season 2, Episode 3. And I am joined yet again by the wonderful Pixie Polite. There she is. Look at you looking like a punk rocker. I love it.
I'm giving you a bit of Kiss realness this evening. Just because why not? Why not?
Yeah, why not?
It's Kiss meets Gottmik and a mullet.
Yes.
Basically.
I'm loving it.
Very camp.
How are
and of
you?
course you look lovely too. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Excited to get down to business and talk about the episode because it was, in my opinion, it was a bloody good episode this week.
It was a great episode. I think this whole season, each episode gets better and better. And
absolutely. It's
just great.
It's so good. I love it. Absolutely love it. Right. So, get me notes. So, it's the start of a new week. Veronica Green obviously won last week's episode. And Tia Coffee, quite rightly so, owns 10% of that Repeater badge. Got to have that commission, darling.
a nice musical theatre acting joke there for the room.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're a drag queen in the UK, there's so many people that charge commission on bookings. So it's just, I loved it. It was camp. Nice little nod. What? Yeah, nice little nod there. I thought that was a camp little joke. What is going on with this hat? I'm going to turn this. You know what? I'm going to turn the heater off because the heater is blowing up this way and there's just stray strands of hair that's just blowing into my face.
That's what happens when you wear those cheap wigs, dear. You should be wearing a nice wig like mine. Come on. I mean, it cost £5, so it's fine.
Calm. Yes, we digress. Rue enters the workroom and we find out that the mini challenge this week is a Notting Hill carnival theme, and we're doing a bit of limbo. I quite like this mini challenge. I thought it was camp, like there wasn't too much pressure on it, and we saw the queens just be able to like let loose and just have fun and have a laugh doing it. And I really, really like that because you don't really get that very often with mini challenges, do you?
No, well, yeah, I thought it was really fun, and I think it was a really good like way of just allowing the queens to like let off some steam, because obviously with Rats the previous week, that was probably pretty intense. And then the week before that was literally coming in and doing the first challenge. So I think it was like a nice chance just to see the queens like let loose a bit and just have a little bit of fun. It was camp.
Limbo and of course, for your life.
Exactly. And of course we got to see Ellie's diamonds.
Ellie's bollock. That's Ellie's bollock.
And by that I mean balls. So yeah.
Ellie's diamonds. Lawrence looked hilarious. Like that moment when he just turned around and he's like, oh my god.
It's very me energy that.
Yeah. And another one of my highlights from that was just the on the first level that Ginny just walking straight through because she's too short.
Very that. I thought that Veronica and Taste did really well, but I feel like it was maybe more expected just because they're not the tallest and also very slight. So there's not a lot of weight pulling them down. So I wasn't really surprised that they won, but it was fun viewing. Like I forgot what that we were about to get a challenge because I was just like, this is camp, this is fun, this is interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. I don't know about you, but on the last one when they were trying that where their ankles were like bent, I was watching it being like, oh no. Oh
yeah, I mean I'll sprain my ankle, pop my knee, the slightest bit of anything, so I would have been fucked. I would have had to go full comedy.
And Ellie falling into a death drop, like
she knew she was falling. She was like, I'm going to make it entertaining. Why not? Props to you, mum.
Yes. So Tace and Veronica tie in the mini challenge, and we find out that this week's maxi challenge is a Who Wore It Best design challenge, and the queens are asked to pair up with their best Judies. And we have Sister and Ginny, Tia and Veronica, Tace and Ahura, obviously, Estina and Bimini, and Lawrence and Ellie all team up. We then find out that Veronica and Tace get to choose the colour boxes for each pairing, which I thought was very camp. I really like the idea of this week's challenge. I like the Who Wore It Best, putting them into teams and being like, okay, now you're against your best Judy, bitch. Like, it was great. I feel like it was exciting for a design challenge. Like, they brought a bit more than just being like, okay, here's your design, go and do it. It was like, a bit more like substance to the challenge, which I really liked.
Yeah, and I mean, I quite like the idea of the challenge because it's very Heat magazine to have a Who Wore It Best. So very British, very camp.
Yes,
yes. I thought all the pairs, the people who paired up in the pairs, were very obvious pairs to me. Yeah. So in a way, I kind of wish that it wasn't them against each other in the pair. I think I kind of would preferred it if it was like a team sort of challenge, so they have to design looks together, like as a pair, and walk the runway as a pair. I think I'd have found that like super interesting. And then the least successful pair lip syncs.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
That would have been camp as well. Yeah,
I think I'd have preferred that. But like overall, generally the energy is camp because it does mean that people who, the person you're closest to is now your biggest rival, and they could be the reason you go home. So it is a lot of pressure. And
so much pressure.
I think we saw that in the workroom when people were working on their outfits, because there were, it was a weird atmosphere. I mean, there was a moment where Tia and Veronica were like, go on without me, like they were at war or something. It was very cute. But yeah, I mean, it's a camp challenge, and I think overall, most people did like a pretty decent job. So design challenge. So yeah.
Yeah. So Veronica picked the first box, and of course Veronica Green picked green, much to Tia's disdain.
Veronica, what are you doing?
That moment, she's like, Are you sure you want to do that? And Veronica's like, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So Taste picked black, then Veronica picked pink for Ginny and Sister. Taste picked blue for Estina and Bimini, and then Lawrence and Ellie got gold. Do you think that they all got the correct colours? Like, if you were there, would you have given those pairings those colours? Like, do you think that the colours worked out?
To be honest, yes, I do. I just wish green wasn't an option because I mean, I wasn't a fan of the blue box. Like the blue runways that they did, I wasn't mad on. And I didn't like the green either. But I think green's just a hard colour to pull off. And I think blue can be a bit boring. Like black's very chic, gold's very glam, and pink can be really fun. But those other two boxes are just a bit like, they're leftovers, essentially.
Yeah, I think it was weird because, like, if looking at, obviously we haven't seen all of the materials that they got in each box, but looking from what we saw on the show, it looked like all of the green materials were really like bright and garish and bold, but then all of the blue materials were like more like darker blues and duller blues. Yeah, which was quite weird, really.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of a royal blue moment, so you could maybe make it quite chic and evening wear, like, which is like basically what Bimini went for. Yeah, I mean, I think I would have immediately wanted the gold box because I think.
Okay. Bit me to it, darling. I was about to ask you what colour you'd have picked.
Yeah, no, I think I'd have picked the gold box just because the idea. Like black is very chic, but I think I'd worry it might be boring because you don't know what's going to be in the boxes either. As I said, I wouldn't find green or blue the most exciting. Pink could be really fun. You could do something super fun with it. So if I couldn't get gold, I think my second choice would be pink. But I think gold always just is going to look glitzy and fun, and isn't it? So, like in comparison to some other colours, like if it was yellow instead of gold, maybe I'd have avoided it. I don't know.
I mean, there's not really any question or doubt about what colour I would have wanted, is there? Let's be real.
What colour would you have wanted?
Well, obviously, I would have wanted black. Like, obviously. Well, I mean, let's be real. Like, blue would have been the better one because at least I could be a blue illusion.
At least you have a wig that matches. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
That's fair.
Yeah. So I think I would have probably hoped for the blue. So after the walkthrough, Ru makes the announcement that whoever doesn't wear it best will be up for elimination. And we cut straight to Tia and Veronica mainly, and Veronica, bless her little heart, just being completely shaken up by the whole thing and worrying that now, like, she says, well, it might be my fault that you might go home.
It could be my fault that you may potentially go home.
And everyone kind of finds out, and it's a bit of a shock reaction.
Yeah. I mean, I found it's weird because when they initially announced what the challenge was at the beginning of the episode, and then they announced later on that they'd be against each other and one would be top and bottom. I wasn't that shocked by the twist because that kind of felt logically where it was going. But obviously it's television, so it's all amped up for drama. But yeah, I think it was nice that Tia and Veronica had a lot of like nice little cute friendly moments this episode. It really feels like they're in it together, like as a team.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as well, I quite liked the amount of time we had in the workroom this week. Because I was talking to someone literally a few days before the episode aired, and they were saying that like how they feel that they're really playing down the friendships and that we're not really seeing like how good friends people are and stuff like that. And then the episode aired and it was clear as day. Veronica and Tia are friends, Taste and Ahura are friends. Do you know what I mean? Like it just, was calm.
I mean, the thing is, I think with the first two episodes, and this is something we said in our review of episode 1, there's so many people and there's so much going on that there's less time to get to know people in the workroom, which is a shame. So it's nice that this episode, now that a couple of people have gone home, that there was more time to focus in on people and how they are interacting.
And then we get what I think is probably one of the most important conversations that has ever been aired on Drag Race. And that is the conversation between Ginny and Sister, and then Ginny and Bimini, about them identifying as non-binary. And I really loved Ginny saying about why she wears the colour yellow. The colour yellow is for healing and positivity, and it's the non-binary colour. And that colour doesn't say or define anything about who they are. And like I've known Ginny, known of Ginny for years, and I never knew why she was Ginny Lemon, why she wore yellow. And then going into the conversation with Bimini, it was just such a wonderful, poignant, incredible moment on TV. What are your thoughts?
I thought it was a really great conversation. I think it was a very important conversation to have because obviously there've been people on the show before who have been non-binary. You've got Davina De Campo, Gigi Good, and various other people who, are either non-binary and it hasn't been mentioned on the show, or non-binary and it has been mentioned on the show, like maybe in more recent seasons. So I think it was really nice to have this proper conversation about it and what it is, and explaining it and like relating on a human level about it. And I think Ginny was probably honestly, out of anyone you could ever pick in the world, she's probably just a really good candidate to talk about it because people love her because she's so funny and she's so unique. And so to see her break down her walls and get out of her character as Ginny Lemon and talk as the person that they are underneath all of that sort of character, it just made it a bit more extra poignant, to be honest. And it was really lovely that Sister was there, like, supporting her through it. It was really nice that Ginny and Bimini then could also, like, relate on a different level about it. Both of them obviously being non-binary, and it's true about the color yellow. I never put two and two together as to why Ginny loved yellow, but thinking about what the reasons that she said why, I get it complete 100%. Yellow's like my favorite color. I love to wear yellow all the time, specifically because it is gender neutral and it is so positive. It reminds me of sunshine, and Ginny is a little ray of sunshine, and Bimini's lovely too. So I think it was just a very important conversation to have. It was great for education for people at home. There's lots of lovely tweets about people who didn't really understand what being non-binary was, or had never heard of it even, who understood now and empathized and can then, going forward in the world, be allies, which is a good thing. You know, the show's done a really good thing by, like, helping bring that conversation out. And I think Ginny and Bimini should be really proud of themselves. And also, I think it helped a lot of people. You know, I saw a couple of tweets and a couple of people on Facebook and around social media who were literally posting, I never knew that I was, but after watching this conversation, I know that I am non-binary. People understood themselves more because of they had that conversation on TV, like, about 10 months ago or whatever. And that's great. Loved it. If they don't win a BAFTA for that conversation alone, like,
honestly,
what's the point?
Yeah.
What's next?
And it's incredible. Like, hats off to the producers for including it, and hats off to the queens for being them, and for, like, being so vulnerable on such a huge platform, and being able to be so vulnerable to teach the rest of the world, and, you know, really show how you know, like you said, how far the world is moving forward. And it's great to see. We love to see it. So yes, so we make it onto the runway, and this week's guest judge is Jordan Dunn. So first out, the first pairing we have out is Tace and Ahura. What did we think of Tace and Ahura, and who do we think wore it best?
Okay, I'm in two minds about this, because part of me is like, I think Tace wore it best. And I'll tell you for why. That was a Gavin and Stacey reference.
Absolutely. And I'll probably completely agree with everything that you're about to say.
Yeah, and then we'll probably just move on, because I'm obviously a legendary fashion icon. So basically, yes, I agreed that Tace's hair, we had seen it, like, on week 1. But overall, her whole look gave me some, like, design. It gave me fashion. Was it well finished? Not by a long shot. Was it held together by safety pins? Absolutely. Did it look fashion? Yes. So, like, I don't think it was a good construction, but I think she looked great. I mean, she's Tace, so, like, she could literally she could wear a shit, like, piece of fabric from a gutter and she'd probably still look stunning, let's be honest. But I think in terms of her and Ahura, what is more fashionable and designed, I would personally say Tace's. Yes, Ahura's was completely well finished, tailored, lovely gal, but it was just a bit more boring. Like, everyone's been saying, you know, it looks like Sharon Needle's poodle bitch ball look, which it is. It looks exactly the same, but she's just wearing a coat.
Yeah.
Which I can't fault her for, but, like, also I'm like, well, if it reminds me of something I've already seen, I'm not particularly bothered. You know.
Yeah. It was
what
well
she's made. Like, yeah, what Ahura made was completely well put together, well constructed, perfect. There was lots of details and design elements, but I just preferred how Tace looked. So I would have personally given it to her.
As you said, Ahura's was constructed better and it was finished to a higher standard. But like, she walked around and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you look good, but okay. And whereas Tace, I was like, oh, this is a choice. Okay, Okay, this is
And I
fashion.
think the difference of it is because we're directly comparing two people in each pair.
Yeah.
I think the difference is just the fact that also Taste can model. Like she has a good walk and she knows how to like give it all that. I don't think Ahora's, she's kind of faking it till she makes it a bit. She seems like a bit uncertain. Well, not uncertain. She seems very confident, like maybe slightly overconfident. But yeah, it's just Taste just has a little bit of something magical, doesn't she?
Yeah.
It's just is what it is.
It is.
But yeah.
So,
well, who are the next pair?
Taste and Ahura, who wore it best? For me, it was Taste, and for you, it was
Taste.
Taste.
Cam.
Okay, and then next up we have Ginny Lemon and Sister. Who wore it best?
Sister. I fucking love Ginny, and I thought actually she did really well. Like considering her makeup's usually like basically clown white with a big blue brow and a lip, like pretty much. She did pretty good beauty makeup. Like the wig was cute. Like I like that she incorporated the yellow, which is obviously her brand, so she's still being her. But the overall ensemble was literally just a tube of fabric with no additional anything. So it would definitely not be the winning garment, especially when you stand her next to Sister, who has a constructed top with a circle sequin applique, ruffles on the shoulders with these exaggerated long sleeves, extra details on the sleeves, a fully like pleated like big pair of like it was just there was a lot going on. I'll give it that. There's quite a lot going on, but I loved it. I want that top. I would like to own that.
I wasn't.
So yeah, she wore it better.
I wasn't overly keen on either of them, to be quite honest with you. Like I liked Sisters, but it's an issue with design as well, isn't it? So like design wise, Sister wins. Construction wise, Sister wins. Overall look, Sister wins. So yeah, we agree. We both think Sister wore it best. Then moving on, we have Veronica Green and Tia Coffee. The question still remains.
The question still remains. Do you know what? Like, I don't even know. Veronica didn't do as well as I thought she was going to do. Based on her sketches earlier in the episode, like I was saying before, like, it wasn't the same outfit. It was quite simple. And when considering we know that she makes a lot of stuff herself, and she made her previous runway last week, which was so incredible. Like, I think the bar was set quite high for her. And for me, she didn't, like, she still looked stunning. She looked great.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, like for me, her and Tia's outfits weren't like, it wasn't like that. It was more kind of like, you could find merit and fault in both of them, depending on your opinion. I think Tia's outfit, while not brilliantly constructed, fit her.
Yeah.
And there were some design elements. Yeah. You know, she had the ruffles and the bows, and like she'd give, as they said, you know, she'd given herself a waist with a little belt. It wasn't fashion, but she looked cute as fuck. And like, it was a very like sort of 80s girl at a school disco, which I don't hate because it was really camp and she looked like her hair was good, her makeup was good. So like, I don't know who, I mean, logically, if you're looking at it from a fashion perspective, Veronica wore it best in terms of like construction and everything. But generally I think some of it might just be to do with the fact that green is a shit color, to be honest with you. But I wasn't blown away by either look, but I did not like them. I think they both look really good.
Yeah. I agree. I do. I was a bit underwhelmed when Veronica came round the corner, if I'm quite honest. But I think that's because it was different to the design. So I was expecting something else than what I got. Like it was lined, it was constructed well. But I don't know.
The thing is, like, I think that what might have put Veronica a bit more over the top for me personally is if maybe, because I loved the red hair, but it was a very small wig. Like, it was very small hair. If she was wearing like a nice big, like, styled something, it might have like glamoured it up a bit for me. Yeah. But overall, like, they both did fine. For me, I personally wouldn't have put either of them in the bottom of this episode if it was like a normal judging and not against each other. So, yeah. I think Tia sold it more on the runway with her sneaky arms, and added more to her runway. And I mean, obviously, if the hole in the armpit wasn't there, then I think they probably would have been probably more on par with each other. But, you know, the hole in the armpit was there. And what are you going to do? Like, everyone has a malfunction.
Yeah. Like you said, it was camp, but like, it was just very garish. Like, it was very bright and a lot going on, but that wasn't their fault. That's the material that they got given. That's green. So who wore it best? Both of them for both different reasons. That's all I'm saying, because I'm friends with both of them and I can't honestly pick one. So we're going to move on to the blue box, Astina and Bibbidi Bon Boulash. What do we think? Who wore it best? Can I tell you,
controversial opinion on the blue boxes. I didn't like either outfit.
Okay.
And I'll tell you for why. Like we were saying earlier about Astina's outfit, I'm sure it was very well made, dear. It looked lovely, but it did just look like I'd popped to Primark. So, no. I mean, when she originally was like, I want to do anime schoolgirl fantasy, I was like, great. In my mind, I was like, well, she can make like a blue collar out of like a different blue to make like the shirt collar, and like she can make a little tie, and like she could do like stuff like that. It was just a bit of a meh for me. It looked like she'd taken a bit of fabric, folded it so it looked pleated, glued it to a bit of that lace that Bimini had, and called it a day. So don't get me wrong, she still looks great because, you know, she's got a body to die for. But yeah, I just thought
she did say she wanted to show that she's more than just the body and the legs. And really, the only thing that outfit showed off was her body and her legs. That was the only thing she had going for her. Yeah. And that was the one thing she wanted to show, that she wasn't just that. And unfortunately, this week, I feel like she did, you know?
Yeah. And the thing is as well, she had a lot to live up to after winning that first week's challenge, because it was a runway challenge. And she just didn't, maybe just didn't go out of her comfort zone. Maybe she was just a bit overconfident. And she thought, well, I can sell it on the runway, so it's fine. Like, there's definitely time, like making a collar and a little tie moment. Like, that would have been so easy to do, to make it more like schoolgirly. And in terms of it being designed, like as a design challenge, I don't think there was really any design. Like, she designed something, but then she didn't execute it. And as I was saying, I don't like Bimini's look either. She did look stunning. I liked the idea of her leg being out and then it turning around and like she was fully exposed. Thought that was great. She did look great. The hair was kind of almost giving me runway hair, like in like Paris Fashion Week or whatever, because it was like sort of like a overly oblong, like twisted on an angle. Like, it was giving me that. But much like Ginny's, it kind of just looked like two sheets of fabric sewed together. And because she's skinny and she's stunning, kind of just looked great anyway. So, I wasn't a fan. Who wore it best? Obviously, Bimini. She definitely won, but I wasn't really a fan of either look, generally.
No. I didn't hate Bimini's, but at the same time, I was kind of like, okay, all right, okay, yeah, all right. All right, okay. So, yeah, and obviously she looked great, but the dress was, I don't know, it was weird because at first I was like, ooh. But then as she started walking down and I started looking at it closer and realizing that, like you said, it's basically two pieces of fabric sewn together, I was like, okay. But
I mean, for all we know,
two,
yeah, out of the two, for sure, it's definitely a better one. I mean, for all we know, maybe she had a full pattern and it was like a proper gown. But looking at it, even if it was, you couldn't really tell that it was. So, yeah.
So, who wore it best? Bimini.
Bimini wore it best.
And then last, but by no means least, we have Ellie and Lawrence with their gold box. Who wore it best? It's a hard one, this one, isn't it?
Now, to be honest, either of them, none of them, both of them, I don't know. I liked Ellie's look better because it was that stunning sequin and she had like ruffles and embellishments and like it was sewed the house down boots. And then she sort of added the extra oomph with this sort of Marie Antoinette hair, all the pearls and necklaces dangling from her. Stunning. I think the boots were a choice with it because it did give you pirate, to be honest. But overall, I think she looked really great. Was it fashion? I don't know. I think I kind of agree what they said when it was like, it's kind of more like just a drag costume. Yes, it had been elevated up. Like, I think it's just something small that might have made it tip it over the edge. Like, because she had that sort of bustle at the back of it. If the bustle was longer or bigger or maybe more dramatic, whether it came out wider or longer or something, I think it would have read more fashiony and she might have won the whole thing. But overall, I thought Ellie's was really great. Lawrence's looked really professional. I did think it was a bit ugly, but it was well made.
Okay.
And he gave it... Yeah, I mean... It was a bit old lady, and I think he knew that, which is why he lent into it, doing the white hair and calling it like Golden Girls. But again, was it fashion? No, probably not.
Yeah, I'm torn. I'm torn between the two of them, to be quite honest with you. Like, they both looked fabulous, and I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm going to pick Lawrence Chaney. I don't know why. I can't think why, and we've not got time for me to try and process why. So I'm just going to say Lawrence Chaney. Who wore it best, Pixie?
Who wore it best for me? Ellie Diamond. It's something that I would want to wear. So, and that whole sequin all the way over just made it look so like expensive. So I liked it.
I think it goes without saying that if they weren't against each other, they would have probably been the top two this week.
Potentially, yeah. Yeah, I think Tace and Ellie had it rough being in the bottom 5 just because of how the challenge works. But yeah, props to you, Lawrence. Like, Lawrence still looked great. It was still really well made. So, like, happy that Lawrence won. I wasn't really fussed about who won, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I don't mind that Lawrence won.
Yeah, and Lawrence got their first repeater badge of the season, which was very, very camp, dear. Like I think overall, I think it was, it was a decent runway. Like it was camp. It was camp.
Yeah,
it was very, very camp, dear.
So this is the thing that bothers me sometimes about the show. It's that it's not even just the fans, but sometimes the people on it. They think that the fashion and the runway and the look is the be all and end all of drag, and it's not. You can buy outfits, but you can't buy
talent,
personality, or talent. Those things are natural or like skills that you grow over many, many years. So obviously I love a nice runway, but I don't really care. I'd much rather watch Ginny and Lawrence and Tia wreak havoc in the workroom than sit and watch, Bimini and Ahura and Tace and Sister or whoever sit there and talk about, oh yes, that Jean-Paul Gaultier runway from 1999 where Naomi Campbell wore this, and oh yes, that trend, this reference, blah, blah, blah. Because that's boring as shit. I don't care. I'd rather laugh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my opinion on that.
Exactly. And yeah, like, if the main challenge that week is a runway challenge, then yes, the runway is the most important part of the episode. Whereas if the main challenge is something different, the runway is there to help the judges decide, you know, if, like last week, for instance, Veronica and Tia were in the top 2, and to be, in my opinion, were very on par with each other with their performances. So they needed the runway to be able to determine who won, or, you know, who was the worst. You know, it's a determination is the runway, rather than like being a main thing. And like you said, a lot of people seem to focus on the runway and think that the runway is more important than the main challenge. Well, it wouldn't be called a main challenge if it wasn't most important, would it? Let's be real.
Exactly.
Know what I mean? That is the tea.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about Untucked, to be honest.
No, apart from Estina sitting there and bigging herself up, saying, "You are not ready for me and for what I can do." Then we cut to the main stage, and Tia and Estina are the bottom 2. Do we agree with the bottom 2?
No, I do not. Purely for the reason that, I mean, let's be honest, Ginny, as we said earlier, came out of her comfort zone and tried something new, but she was wearing a pillowcase. So I felt like she should have probably been in the bottom. And I also think Estina should have been in the bottom. Obviously, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but when you think that's a design challenge and you put the 3 of them there together, one is a pillowcase, one is a Primark top and skirt, and the other, is it gross? A bit, but also there are design elements. And she did look good, like, overall. There have been much worse things that have walked that runway over the years. I don't know if it was just,
and if you put
like,
the 3 together, and again, I don't know whether it's just me and bias and everything, but like my eyes were just going to Tia. Like Tia was the one that was standing out of the 3. Like, maybe that's because the color was so garish, or
the thing
is
as well. It's like I was saying earlier about Veronica's hair. I felt like it needed to be bigger. Just looking at the 3 of them lined up with Tia in that beautiful, like, styled, coiffed, big blonde hair. That alone, for me, would have tipped her out of the bottom 2. Just because Estina's there with a flat wig with 2 long ponytails, and then Ginny's in that, like, little fringe flat moment. It's a design challenge, and I just saw more design and, I guess, something from Tia's. Like, if I look at those 3 outfits, the one that, if I had to wear one of them, if you forced me to wear one of those outfits, I would choose Tia's. Yeah, because it's the most interesting. So yeah, no, I thought that Estina and Ginny should have been the bottom.
We then have the lip sync, Tia against Estina, to "Don't Start Now" by Dua Lipa. Dua Peep?
Dua Peep, yes. I really like this song. It gives you, like, lots of different energies. Like, there's moments that are quite triumphant. Yeah. There are moments that are quite down and emotional. There are moments that are quite poppy. Like, there's lots of light and shade there. Do you agree with the winner?
Absolutely, 110%. It was a good lip sync. I think. Like, I enjoyed the lip sync as a whole. I think Estina,
it was probably one of the. I think it was probably one of the best lip syncs of the UK version in general. Yeah, like, everyone lived Last Week over Memory, but I thought that was boring as hell.
No, I sat watching Memory being fine,
but I think it's the best one of the series. Yeah, I think this lip sync was one of the best ones of this series so far, and maybe even series 1.
I felt that Estina was holding back and maybe she thought Tia was an easy win, and she thought, right, let's save, you know, the jump splits and the the tricks and stuff for the next time I have to do this. Maybe it wasn't, but that's kind of how it came across to me. Like, she had energy, but it kind of was just one level, and she was kind of just, you know, being a dancer, and you know, her lines were great and all of this. But then on the other hand, you just had Tia, who was just camping it up, giving you all the energy, living her best life, like dropping to her knees on that moment. Like, you know, she elevated it at that last 8 count and chorus, whereas Estina just stayed. And I think if Estina had amped it up to another level as well, then maybe Estina could have stayed and she could have won, but she didn't. Tia did. Yeah. Tia had the campness, she had the comedy, she put personality into that lip sync. She was having a blast and a ball, and you could see it. And yeah, there was no question on my mind who was going to win the lip sync.
The thing is, I think Estina potentially oversold herself by going ham on that. I'm going to destroy anyone who comes up against me, because, you know, then the judges are like,
it up so much, then it wouldn't have been such a disappointment when it happened.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, it's like I was saying, that the song has so many light and dark moments, and like acting moments and dancing moments. Like, there's so many various bits in it, which I think Tia hit all those, whereas Estina was kind of just doing the same. I'm giving face and occasionally leaning or kicking. It was the same thing the whole way through, whereas Tia was giving you like ups and downs. And I think, you know, the end of it did probably super sell it for Tia, for me anyway. Because she was like fully acting it, and then suddenly it was like, bam, I'm giving you passion, I'm giving you energy, I'm hungry to stay, sort of thing.
For sure.
Tia was showing us some dance moves, she was showing you comedy, she was showing you some acting through song, she was showing you that she's willing to do what it takes to stay. That's a lot of things that you can still do in the competition, whereas Estina being a fun dancer and having basic runways isn't as interesting for me to want to stay.
And then it was a very emotional elimination. Tia was just in complete disbelief, and I think it the way that she reacted to her staying and Estina going home, I think really just showed a really human, vulnerable side of Tia, that you could really just be like, this is a real person, this is a real queen, she ain't faking.
She's being reality herself. She's giving you reality.
She's giving you reality, not scripted reality. The cast is such a strong cast that there is no way of saying like, oh, they'll go next, because it's literally anyone's game at this point. Like, depending on what challenge comes up and how well you perform, like, who knows what's going to happen at this point. And I, for one, am thoroughly enjoying that about this season.
Yeah, and this is the thing as well, as more people go home, there's more opportunities for the people who remain to shine.
Yeah.
So the less people they are, your odds of like winning a challenge goes up, and if you win a challenge, you could potentially get all the way to the end. It really is anyone's race at this point.
Yeah. So that is the episode, my darling.
It is.
But before we go, we're going to have just a little segment where each of us have chosen a clip from the episode this week, which is our favourite moment of the episode. Let's see what your moment was this week, Pixie. Let's have a little look now.
That's not sexy. In the slightest. Ginny looks like a sex doll with googly eyes on her.
Googly eyes.
That's I love that. Yeah, for camp, I love that. And here is my favourite moment of the week.
But to be honest with you, Lawrence Cheney wouldn't know sexual tension if it slapped her across the chops. You know what I mean? So it kind of is what it is. What can you do? I'm just over here trying to make a garment.
Do you hear that? No. Oh, I won't repeat it to her.
I don't know. I just love that moment. I think it was camp. I just love. Oh, I won't repeat it, dear. Like, love it. Iconic.
It was very Catherine Tate, like Nan. It's like, oh well, dear. Oh,
Yeah.
it was better than that.
It was. Well, thank you very much for joining me again this week, Pixie.
Thank you.
I would say, where can we find you? Or if you want to tell everyone where they can find you on social media, you can if you want.
You can find me on all social medias at Polite Pixie, as well as on YouTube. You can also tip me on PayPal at www.paypal.me/thevixens. Thank you.
And you could tip me at www.paypal.me/Jade Justine Drag if you've enjoyed our content tonight. Oh, God, I hate it. So, yes, thank you very much for joining us again this week for my Drag Race review with Pixie Polite. I've been Jade Justine. She's been Pixie Polite. We've been trash. You've been amazing. Lots of loves. See you next time. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button for notifications on more videos like this. I'm trying to be an influencer. Do you see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
It's count, doesn't it, dear?
Do you know what you should say? We've been trash and you've been treasure. Mm.
Oh my God.
Next time.
Keep
this bit in. It's camp.
Yes. Anyway, lots of love. Until next week. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Subscribe.